Hi, today I want to share the biggest mistakes I made in my 401k plan. If you're heading towards retirement and still working and contributing to your 401k plan, I hope sharing my experiences can help you avoid some of the mistakes I made if they're applicable in your situation. So let's dive into the 4 biggest mistakes I made. My first biggest mistake was not contributing to the Roth 401k option sooner. Roth is after tax. I didn't start contributing Roth until like 3 years ago. For most of my working years, I always put money into the pre-tax side of it. At the time, it seemed like a smart move because it lowered my taxable income. And that was important because I've been a single mom raising my kids and then later on putting them through college. And so I wanted the most money in my paycheck. But here's the problem. When you take all that money out in retirement, all of it's taxable income. And that matters because your Social Security benefits might become taxable depending on your income. In determining if your Social Security benefits are taxable, the IRS looks at something called provisional income, and that's your adjusted gross income plus any tax-free interest plus half of your Social Security. If that number goes over a certain threshold, then part of your Social Security benefits could be taxable. And depending how much your provisional income is, up to 85% of your Social Security benefits could be taxable income. I didn't realize that until just recently. I'm not going to be retiring for probably 3 years, but I'm starting to kind of look into these things now. So I can kind of start getting a rough estimate of how much money I'm going to have when I retire and start drawing Social Security benefits and then taking money from my 401k. So if I had started contributing Roth earlier, then when I retire, I would have more money to pull out tax-free, and that might help my Social Security benefits from not being taxable. So the lesson here is don't just think about the tax savings today. Think about how your withdrawals will affect your taxes and your Social Security benefits down the road. And always check in with your tax advisor or your financial advisor to see what is the best situation in your particular situation. My second mistake was not contributing enough to get the full employer match. That's basically free money I was giving up. So a long time ago, I was only putting in 3%, and my employer match was 100% of deferrals up to 3% of compensation, and then 50% on the next 2% up to 5%. So in other words, I needed to contribute the full 5% to get that full match. So even just 1% more could have added thousands of dollars in my retirement account if you include the extra money that I would have put in for my deferrals, plus that extra match I give up on. Today, my employer matches 100% of deferrals up to 5% of compensation. So over the last 10 years or so, I've always put in the full amount to get the full match. So make sure you double check what your employer's match is, because maybe it's changed over the years. Maybe it was 3%, and so you just put in 3%, but a couple of years ago they changed it. Now they're matching 5%. So always check to see what your employer is matching. And if you can, try to contribute the full amount and that you don't miss out on this free money. Mistake number 3, not contributing regularly. There were times over the years where I'd stop my contributions. Big expense came up and I would stop contributing for a few months, and then, months would go by and I'd be like, oh God, I have to start contributing again. And then more months would go by, and then gosh, a whole year's gone by and I still haven't, started contributing again. And so then I would do it. And I did that multiple times, mostly early on when I started contributing. So all those skipped months could have meant a lot more money in my retirement plan. So I missed out on growth and the power of consistent investing over the years. Mistake number 4, not rebalancing. When you first set up your 401k plan, you select your investment directives and you select a certain percentage of how much you want to go into each investment. But the market changes, and over time, investments grow faster than others. Without rebalancing, my account became lopsided. Too much in one area and not enough in some of the other areas that I invested in. So rebalancing is simply checking in once or twice a year, and some plans have quarterly rebalancing. And when you rebalance, you're just adjusting back to the original percentages in the investments that you chose. It helps manage risk and helps you to be on track with your retirement goals. So these are the 4 biggest mistakes I made. The good news, it's never too late to learn and adjust. If you're still in your working years, even small changes can make big differences down the road. Thanks for watching. Take care.